Is there? Okay, I think we are recording. I wasn't ready for that, but here we are. So, my name is Sunshine. I'm the founder of Soul-Led Business, and this is the Soul-Led Business YouTube channel where I get to share inspiring business owners who went through a really creative, unique journey of going from a conventional path of what work is and career is to really being guided by their heart, their soul, their calling, their sense of purpose, and creating really creative offers that solves unique problems that they see in the world. And I know the word problem might sound like something to fix, but that's not what we're looking at here. It's really from a place of why we're here at this time on Earth right now, what are we here to create, truly? Why are we here, you know? So it is my absolute pleasure to share this time and conversation that I'm having with my dear friend, Aline Stofella, the founder of Anahata Pulse. Welcome, Aline.
Hello, thank you so much for this moment. And I'm very honored, as always, to be here and to share a little bit of what I have or my experience with people.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing all of that and sharing it with our community here. And so, can you give us a brief introduction and maybe you can add to that how we met as well?
Okay, I'm Aline and I'm actually from Brazil, but I have lived in many different places, not only outside Brazil, abroad, but also here in my country, which is really big. And I think this is really important to bring because this is the background that I feel that most um, reflects me because I'm a very worldwide person. Even though I I can feel that I don't know so many different countries, but the experience I had very early on gave me this vision or this ability to look at people and not judge because I lived with so many different cultures and different people from different country and this ability of just observing, being curious with people that are different from me and not judgmental. So this is important about me and who I am and how I live my life. And this is also part of how we met because when I was a teenager, I went to study abroad in a boarding school, a completely new experience for me. And we met there. Back then, we were just floor mates. We lived in the same floor for a while, for 1 year, I guess.
That was a real
But we
label, we used. He's a floor mate.
Yes,
He's a
the
roommate.
floor.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
floor you is like a small community inside of a
Yeah,
small
small
community. And
family,
first
exactly.
girls
Yeah.
there was and we met there as a teenagers years. I remember and I always say this when we talk like how I admire you. You were very outgoing and it looked like you owned the place, okay. This is my little kingdom
Right.
and I was very surprised when we reconnect after, I don't know, maybe after 30 years and we reconnect this bond that we had, but we also now that we are grown ups, we realize how this bond existed, even though we didn't really interact so much in
Yeah,
that time,
true.
right? And different from many people that I was like my best friend, and we were always together. And today I don't even talk to them. I feel that life bring us together um, because of the way we view life or we vision the future and the present and community, and also all the changes we've been through this these years from teenagers and become women, right? Like, so it was very pleasure, like it was a nice surprise to reconnect with someone from my past in
Mhm.
a present moment, so connected with the same ideals and the same language, and opens up a lot of space for a lot of different topics here, but that's
Absolutely.
how we connect.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I love that our journey took us into, you know, many of us watching this YouTube channel will understand that cultural complexity, whatever experience we had in our childhood or in our travels that make us feel like we're more global, we can't be labeled, we can't fit in any cultural box or systemic box. Um, we'll be watching this video and um, what was it that I wanted to say? That like every experience that we have is an opportunity for us to take and use in however way we want. And I think what connects us is we took that cultural complexity, the good of it, the really amazing richness of it, we enjoyed it, but we also got
Mhm.
really honest about the difficult part, the dark parts, the very lonely parts, the questions, the deeper questions that you can't really find an answer to in a textbook or just following some guru or right, like we really took the time to go into ourselves and get
Yeah.
curious about who am I really underneath all of this. And that deeper journey within, that inward journey, guided us to also want to express our own gifts out into the world through a system of exchange that we called business. Yeah.
It's true.
And so that really brings us together and why we are here together conversing and sharing about Anahata Pulse. Yeah.
Yes.
So now I'd love to hear if you can just share your story of how Anahata Pulse came about.
Yes. I would say it would be a long story, but I also recently realized that a lot of times what we consider like long story actually is just the beginning and very short story of something bigger that is coming. But Anahata Pulse was born, as to say, or was created by this place where I didn't feel that I belong there. I didn't feel I belong here. So that dual feeling of belonging, um, being such a global person, in many different levels. Because when we say here, I'm a global person, totally different from the global person you are, for example, right?
Mhm.
You've been traveled to many different countries, lived in many different cultures. I had an experience with a lot of different people very early on, but since I came to Brazil, still very young, I lived uh, my whole life until now here. And but Brazil is so big and so plural that gives us this opportunity to continue being global even if you live here. And I was
So I'm hearing
searching.
like Brazil is like a fractal representation of the globe.
I feel because we have a lot of people here. Diversity, speaking as a country itself, it's already very diverse. The people from different regions, we have like five major regions here. People from these five regions, they have completely different culture, food, habits, and everything, like style of clothing, all. And besides that, or adding to that, actually, we have a lot of foreigners from other countries who live here. And depending on what part of Brazil, you have different. Where I live is very influenced by Japanese culture, for
Really?
example.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we have a big Japanese community. So, Japanese parties are very big where I live. And then on the Northeast, where I'm from, we have a little bit of everybody because it's a touristic place, so everybody goes there, start living there. So we have people from all around the world. In the south of Brazil, we have a lot of Uruguayans, Argentinians, and things like that. So it's we try to put limits and create countries, but we still keep mingling, right? So we still want to be part of a
You can't
bigger
keep
thing.
us
And I
separated.
Yes, I realized this like we have this label, Brazilian, Korean, whatever,
Yeah.
but actually we are from Earth, right?
Yeah.
And we are from this planet. And if we challenge ourselves just a little bit, we realize that we can have rich experience, and at the bottom of the experience we are all global somehow. And you can, with technology and everything, you don't have the excuses of being from a small city lost everywhere. You can give this opportunity to your soul to experience wherever you want. So Anahata Pulse was born basically from a place that I was exhausting of trying to belong to somewhere or sustain a label. Like, so I'm Brazilian, so I have to dance samba, I have to do that, I have to do that. No, I am Brazilian, but I am Aline before being Brazilian. I am a person and I have my own experiences and things that I like and I don't like. So from this place of listening to a lot of theories, experience a lot of things, a lot of gurus, a lot of techniques, I was exhausted. My dreams were like buried. I didn't feel like dreaming, or I didn't have expectations anymore. And then Anahata Pulse was born from this place that putting my voice there and say, enough.
You are
I
fed
am
up.
enough.
You are fed
Yes,
up with tolerating, pretending, performing, fitting in, minimizing yourself,
all this.
hiding your power, hiding your voice. You are done with it.
I
Wow.
was done
How
all of
powerful.
this. And it's a statement like I can be who I am and I'm enough, I
I am
especially
enough.
from this
I
place.
can be who I am. I am enough.
Yes.
Thank
From
you.
this place, Anahata came.
Anahata. So can you tell us, I don't know, well, now I do, but if you can
Uh-huh.
explain for people who don't even know what anahata, the word, means, and what anahata offers. Yeah, what is anahata? Um, what's your mission, vision behind it? And also, what's the problem you're solving? What is your unique creation that meets the needs of others?
Okay. First of all, let's start with the Anahata Pulse. For those who are not familiar, Anahata is a name in Sanskrit for the heart chakra. And then chakra means that our heart is a center of energy. So I believe in this, in energy, and I believe that this pulse that comes from our heart is our biggest guidance, our guide, which will take us to where we're going to feel fulfillment inside. So we need to follow this. But in order to follow this, I believe, and that's the way it worked for me at least. So I think this is my unique voice. This is a place that I was searching for myself and I never found, and I want to create and offer to people, which is a place to shut down the outside voices, the beliefs, and really be with yourselves, not questioning to bring doubt, but questioning to really feel if this makes sense still, because nowadays in this life of productiveness, we are always creating more, doing more, buying more, achieving more, working. It's exhausted, and we don't have time. We keep saying that, oh, old times were better when life was easier, life had a different pace. So Anahata offers this um, a different angle to see life and see this
Mm,
possibility of living a slow life, a life where it's nurturing, a life where you're also productive, but you don't have to be a machine. And then, in order for you to live this, you need to start questioning what really you are taking with you, what doesn't make any sense anymore, and maybe what you really want to create from now that you are a different person, live different experiences, and are in constantly change. So I don't offer a cure, I don't offer a methodology, I offer experience of a life that you are claiming for, but life is just being bigger than you are.
mm,
And we offer that um, through daily pulses, which are small audios. These are our free contribution to the world that people can access on YouTube channel. And for those who feel that, oh, these posts are questioning me, they are triggering me to really go deeper, we have one-on-one sessions. So a place with no judgment, so people can really be with themselves and have a guide that are there not to show an answer, but to provoke them to find this answer in themselves.
mm. Wow. So it sounds like you're offering a space where people can really embody a different pace of life. Is that it?
Yes, yes.
And
No matter where you are, sorry, no matter where you are, no matter what are the conditions right now, the idea is for us to break these beliefs that nature is something outside us, and then we go sometimes there and be in nature. Nature is all of us. So we can and have power enough to create the pace of life we wish and not being controlled by life, but be flowing with life.
what is it that people living a fast-paced life are really struggling with that will help them realize that a slower pace is even possible? Because I think that some of us watching this video actually know that we want that. We've wanted that for so long, but we just don't find a way to get there because the responsibilities that I have. I mean, if you look at my calendar and, you know, the roles that I play, I mean, I'm a responsible leader in the community, a father in the community, or father to the children, right? A brother, whatever leadership position
Uh-huh.
that we all hold to, because we all want to help others too. And so then how do you go from there to, yeah, a different way of life?
Um, I feel, it's not just a feeling of mine, but we have a lot of researchers that work with this, with our brain and our beliefs, and we have a lot of knowledge already about the beliefs and how our mind works our ways. And
Hmm.
I feel that the first step as to say, even though I don't want to give here steps, but the first action you can make to be um, to at least see a little bit of this light at the end of the tunnel. Like you said, sometimes we are really how can we say, over with a lot of activities. We are over with a lot of demanding, and we don't see this light at the end of the tunnel. So the first thing we can do, it's really decide, because it's really hard to do an action, align or not align to yourself, if you don't decide. Some people, I can come here and give you a lot of suggestions, and some people will bring one excuse for each suggestion I make because they didn't decide that they are fed up. But if we start just doing like micro actions, because our mind and most of people today, when they decide to change, they want to change everything. Or you are vegan, or you eat meat, or you are spiritual, or you are materialistic, or so the system or life, whatever, keeps telling us to be one thing or another. And then when we start making small actions, instead of trying to change everything to be a performer, whatever, we start cracking these shells that we put all over ourselves. So sometimes one question can make a big revolution inside of you and make you realize you are able to create space, to create time during your day.
It sounds like you've
Because
had a big revelation yourself. Can you give us an example of how you got to have this wisdom that you're sharing right now?
I I'm going to be completely honest. So I hope this touches everybody's heart, because I could be here telling you a big revolution, a big story or whatever, but I know that I come from a very privileged, or seen as privileged, position,
Mhm.
which is don't work on I work only on my business, so I don't work for other people. This is a big thing. So I have my time, control of my time, as to say. But the big revelation was that I was, I start questioning, like, if I really want to do this, why life is not flowing? Why I'm still always worried? Why I'm living always in alert?
Mhm.
Always trying to be ahead of the problem, trying to be ahead of everything. And this is so tiring. So I was keeping like serving my soul, but I was keeping tired. I was keeping things not flowing the. And then one day I had like a meeting to myself, and I questioned myself really, like, what do you want, without
Mhm.
comparing to yourself, because you have time. You have I don't have a revenue right now, but I have another way of receiving some revenue. So you have time, you have revenue, and what are you doing really, like, because before you didn't have time or you didn't have the revenue. And then I start questioning, and then I realized that I wasn't doing because it wasn't resonate with me. And I need to be honest. I
Mhm.
need to face that I compare myself to others. I need to
Mhm.
face that I look on the Instagram and see everybody traveling, and then
Mhm.
suddenly I have this desire of traveling, but do I really want to travel all this time, all everywhere? Because it sounds so dreamy and beautiful, but maybe it's not for you. Maybe you don't like travel every month. It's tiring. Maybe you like
Ah,
to be in your house, whatever,
absolutely. Yeah.
And then I was really truly honest. In Portuguese, we have a saying that says a verdade nua e crua. It's like truth,
Verdade
like,
nua e crua.
yes, I'm going to translate like literally because I don't know what is the equivalent for the expression, but maybe you understand. It's like telling the truth,
Mm.
like naked, raw, the raw
Mm.
truth, facing it and decided.
Hey, can you say
And
that one more time? I just want to write it down. Telling the raw truth. And in Portuguese, por favor.
verdade
Verdade.
nua,
What is it?
nu, nua
Nua
e
e
crua.
crua. Tell it as it is. It's that. Like,
Verdade nua e crua.
yeah,
Yes.
beautiful. Thank
Like, and then the question that made me all do this digging deep was, I was like just thinking one day, and then I was like, okay, everybody says that universes gives us the whatever we need, that God give us whatever we need, and that we have our free will, right? And then I was like, okay, so which free, how does it work free will if I do something by my free will and it goes wrong? This is not what your soul wants. I start questioning these things. Or
you.
I have free will and I create the world, the time, the perfect conditions, or whatever, or I don't have free will
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I'm guided by something bigger. It's not possible to be like in both.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And from this question, I realized that I was speaking something that was not true to myself, and that I have the opportunity, I have the power, and I decided to change and live authentically who I am instead of waiting to be in another place. My dream is to be in by the beach. So when I'm by the beach, I'll have the life I want. No, I'll have the life I want now, and one day I will achieve being at the beach again. I decided to do the opposite, what people were telling me. And that's where life, without explanation, like reasonable, it just shift. I started enjoying my house more. I started enjoying my dog. My time with myself was not always to be productive or creating a connection with, just living real life. I think my biggest um, unique trace is that I'm not gonna bring you do that or do that. Choose one thing or another. I want to live the real experience of life and what life gives us, and not what people say that it's sacred, profane, that is good or wrong or bad. I want to make my decisions. Maybe the whole world thinks something's bad, but I think it's good, so I will live this experience and don't want to be labeled, and I don't want to be put in boxes anymore. I don't fit in a box. I discovered that. So I want to offer, because I believe I'm not the only person who feels this way. I want to offer a space where people can just be themselves and make these questionings and choosing what they want by themselves, just with a little guidance on what do I ask or how do I come here, just a little trigger, and then the person keeps going.
How beautiful. It sounds like such a nice light support on everyone's unique journey and a really easy way to join this space if they really want to challenge themselves to get honest, you know?
Mhm.
Said earlier, verdade nua e
Verdade?
crua.
Yes. Verdade nua e crua.
Like to join you on this free YouTube channel, isn't it? To start receiving your work, your shares, your tools, your what did you say? The powerful questions that you're going to share.
Yes.
And then if anybody ever feels that they need some additional support, and I know how powerful you are as a healer, and I know that your model of how you serve others is changing from you healing others to really empowering others. But also your support is worthwhile experiencing. and yeah, just being in your presence. Like, look at you right now, like in such comfort of being in your own seat. You know, I'm done
Yeah.
with this, and this is who I am, and I'm gonna keep going with my truth, and this is my truth, like underneath all of it, and um and offering that similar intention out to the world with your voice and
Yes.
time and your energy.
Everything that we everything that we have support, it becomes a little easier. That's
Mhm.
how I also what I realized um, through all my experiences when I had a sport or a friend that went with me, or even if you go to workout, diet, whatever, if you have a support, this becomes easier. And then you start creating like a little community as well of people who have the same goals of living freely who they are. And gives power. So that's why I decided, because I really wanted to have a place like what I offer today, a space where I could have this help in this way. I had other helps, of course, but was different paths and wasn't so fluid, like wasn't so easy going, was with more difficulties. And I'm not saying that it's all beautiful, because we're gonna question ourselves. We maybe can face some things that are not resonating with us anymore, and then sometimes we have to let it go. But it brings such serenity that it makes everything easier, when you start connecting to this truth.
Wow. So, what do you think this journey was about, anyways? Because it's not going to be like an overnight, people find Anahata Pulse or Soul-led business because we're offering some support. Like, it's still not going to be an overnight. It's still going to be a journey. Why do we call it a journey? And what was it for you to get to where you are now?
I feel that we call journey because we need to label things. It's like a human being need to label everything we have. But actually, I think the whole life experience is a journey. And since we are here on our childhood, we don't exclude what we were. We are just integrating different parts of us. So this integration makes life a better experience,
Mm,
because while we are keeping in a tug war inside of ourselves and always like trying to be one thing or another, or oh, so I'm a spiritual person, I cannot drink because drink is evil, I am, like, forget it, do leave, because we are so small in this whole thing that exists, right? We are one planet inside of one system, inside of one universe. So we we know nothing, and we think we know a lot at the same time. And I start questioning, maybe what life wants is just us to live this experience the best way we feel it's right for ourselves, and not pretend to be what somebody wants us to be, or what is in trend right now. So in trend is to be spiritual, so let's be all spiritual. You already are spiritual because you are an energy embodied in this life.
yeah,
Nature is around us all the time. We are nature. So, um,
that's why
in
we
this
go back
world
to
where,
Earth when we die. Yeah. I mean,
yes,
it's a very, very it's actually not very subtle, but I was going to use the word subtle difference. When we use the word we, what part of us are we talking about? You know, the part of us that go back to Earth, what part is that? And then there's the part that is eternal, that
yes.
wing.
So I think that,
That's what we call. Yeah.
yeah, I think so. To answer your question, I think like my whole life is a journey, and I think that even though we call journeys and journeys and journeys, and I think as if we observe the nature, everything has its time to mature and to give fruits, right? We cannot control this. So We know maybe some things are very quickly happening in our life, some things need to mature more. And then as an entrepreneur, I can say that of course sometimes the belief of, oh my God, when this revenue is coming or when I'm going to have what I envision for myself. But right now, what I feel is that it will come when I'm ready to receive, and not from a place of worthing, like I deserve or I don't deserve, but from a place that I am ready to sustain what I'm envisioning. So also, it's not like a passive place where you're going to be here waiting for everything. You are creating and giving time for mature something,
Mm,
and then you're going to get the fruits and of it, right? And enjoy all the fruits, whatever you want.
how
So I
beautiful.
feel that this is what really I wanted to say, and I wasn't having the clarity to say, and now I feel very like in place, in peace, and not worrying so much about the results, because I know there will be results, but I'm enjoying my own journey, as to use the word, while I'm creating and doing all this.
How beautiful. Yeah, as you speak, I feel we're very aligned in the way that we describe what principles we connect ourselves to in order to make decisions in our day-to-day business. And you bring up that seasonal aspect of what creation actually is, that we're all creators. And because, yeah, for you, it was about waiting, passively waiting, or that switch of I create, I choose, right? And when we choose, when we create, look at all nature around us is showing us the truth of seasons, truth of cycle, truth of death and rebirth, truth of winter, spring, summer, autumn, that there is a time where you might not see the results, as you say, like in front of your eyes right away, but there is a deeper knowing that this is aligned with your truth, what you're here to offer, what you're here to create, and the right people come.
Yes.
It's a co-creation with a greater mystery, but also
Yeah.
part of the creation, you are also in the driver's seat. And so yeah, the soul-led incubator that you've been a part of, and such an honor to work with you and get to know you more deeply in this entrepreneurial way than our high school cheerleading. We were cheerleading mates too, also, not just floor mates too. We had, yeah. Um, and and really, the incubator's purpose is to be that space for entrepreneurs who feel culturally complex and maybe haven't integrated all parts of themselves yet. They've been working on it, but are looking for a what is it? More integrated expression in their work from all the experiences that they've had in their lives and what's available to them um, in their lineage too, connected to the land's wisdom and memories of what our ancestors have also given us. Like we think that we're all this because I did it all. I worked hard,
Mhm.
studied hard, I traveled hard. We think we did it all, but that whole subconscious that we're all wanting to shine our light on and heal and become more aware, like all of that is memories passed down to us from our ancestors, blessings and the trauma. And so connecting to all of our wisdom in how we express our offering out to the world um, is really the purpose of the incubator. And so I'd love to hear How has the experience for you been being inside the Soul-Led Business Incubator? What did you expect? What was surprising to you, and what helped you the most?
Um, I have said that before, right? I think on my feedback, not a feedback, but it was more a testimonial, right? And I started the incubator thinking that I was just expanding my business for the English because I wasn't using English back then when we started. And it became a lot of about um, my own wounds. Every meeting actually was very emotional um, because business is not something outside you, you know, it's not me, but it's like a branch of myself. So we cannot look at our business without looking at ourselves. I think that's what I really connected first of all on our meetings.
Mm,
Um, and I feel that was really important because gave me somehow structure
mm-hmm,
to get to all these insights that I am right now.
mm-hmm.
So while we were doing it, um, I was still refining. I remember use a lot of this word like refining. And I thought I was refining, and maybe in some level I was refining because I was taking some layers,
Yeah,
looking at my business, looking at numbers, structuring everything,
yeah.
and at the same time align this with my soul. So I was refining, and then when we finished the meeting and my human mind was like, okay, so now I finished the meeting, things will start flowing, and that's it. Like I finish, and then I'm starting a new cycle, as to say.
Mm,
And I realized that I that wasn't exactly what I was living as well. So okay, I was doing, I had these insights, and I was keeping doing what we actually I realized as we were meeting my commitment to my business and everything, and then I felt that I was repeating um, processes that I already had done in a different way, uh, in a more structured way, but I was doing like from
your decisions
something that I
were,
already had.
yeah.
Yes, something wasn't like really matching, you know, like I was feeling the heaviness and
Mm,
everything. And then, of course, we did a lot of meditations as well, so it was important in journaling. And then I start saying, okay, so if it's not this, right? I don't believe that we did a whole journey of on the soul-led business out of nothing. I think that if I haven't been through all those meetings and I haven't trying to refine what I had created before, I
mm-hmm,
wouldn't realize that I really just need to let it go, to
mm,
give space for something that truly wanted to come. And now I am creating something from here, but also that have structure.
mm,
Something that I am a lot of that I bring alignment, and I think that somehow talks a lot about my experience with you. Is that I'm water. I am a lot of water, and I always try to be earth, fire, because fire manifestates earth, it grounds. So I want to be earth. I want to be fire because I'm a lot of water, and this is sometimes hard to deal. And then after this whole process, I feel that I still am water, but I have margins, you know, that gives me direction for my water to flow. I don't need to be earth. I just need to have a little margin, to a little land next to me so I can really send this flow to the right place with direction. So I think this is,
Beautiful metaphor.
if I haven't been through the journey with you, I wouldn't be realizing this right now.
Mm,
Yeah, I got emotional
I
too.
know. Me too. I feel I feel the joy. What a beautiful, powerful metaphor. Like you sound like the river flowing and she knows her river banks.
And we know we can come back to the ocean,
Yeah.
like, and be ocean. So we are not ocean anymore just because we are river. We are river, we are ocean, we are this water.
Wow. What a joy. You've just always been this soul power, soulful, soulful, um, like from an, if I can imagine like what your grandmother back would look like, I see a powerful healer, speaker, um, someone so deeply connected to her purpose and having walked a brave path. I know because of our conversations that it's not always easy for all of us to come out and like just really speak from our truth. And sometimes we use some language and, what if people think I am woo-woo or crazy?
Mhm.
Because we're really weaving in the parts of us that are invisible. We can't really point to it materially show to the world this is because it's illogical sometimes the way that
Mhm.
our soul guidance works. It's more of a test of trust rather than logic. It's never
Yes.
and I'm hearing how you feel more harmonized between that invisible, illogical, intuitive part of you that's just always been powerful inside of you, even since childhood, and balancing it and weaving a structure more of a logic based, like the here and now, like the real material and the real actions, how we really live our day to day.
Yes. I feel this was my biggest struggle because I don't have this performance life, that a lot of people show in the internet. So I do meditate, but I meditate like in my in myself, so I don't want to feel like recording and showing it, and I don't believe that this is how we should be showing spirituality, because that's what I was saying, and then that you confirm, like, we are spiritual and material. We are both, and we live a real life. So a lot of people cannot wake up 5 in the morning to meditate. A lot of people, and then if we start just following what people show as a path, a correct path to be spiritual, we always be exhausted, because you can be spiritual, you already are. But if you want to have practices that maybe bring more connection, then you don't need to meditate 20 minutes every day. You can maybe start meditating 1 minute, 2 minutes, contemplating, stop, doing one action at a time, because we usually do two, three actions at the same time. So I want for me, and I believe that other people also want and are tired of this life and wants to live a life in a different pace.
Mm,
It's not the right pace, but it's a different pace from what we have. And if we have free will, if we have all this power of creation, why can't we not create? But in order to create, we need to let some things go so we can have space to create this new habit, this new life, this new pace.
mm. So for people who are inspired by your wisdom, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us today. if they're interested and like, some of them may feel like what you're saying is true, but it just feels like so far from where they are. Like the word create my own life. It might sound nice, maybe
Impossible for some
possible for
people.
her, but
Hmm.
just feel really far. And yet there is a desire and a curiosity. Like, what would you say to people to join your YouTube channel and to look for you? Like, when is a good time? What is it that they're experiencing when they should join and receive your shares, your offerings?
If you feel exhausted from
Mm,
this kind of life we're living, is the first sign. If you have been in a burnout,
mm,
if you are anxious or deal with anxiety, also, um, if you feel insecure about who you are, if you feel there is no place for you,
mm. That's beautiful.
sensations,
Yeah.
like deep sadness, or if you cannot sleep well, these are signs that we are not, I don't want to say disconnected, because I don't know if we are disconnected, but those are signs that shows that we are not living according to what we really desire. Otherwise, we will be really good, right? We
Mm-hmm.
would be no pain, no anxiety, nothing. But if you feel this, if you are tired of taking a lot of medicine because your body hurts, if and you can say, oh, but how can I change all this that she's saying, just by listening a 2 minute audio and then everything's gonna change? No, but using nature again. First we need to start like going over the soil. We need to dig the soil, then we plant a seed, then we water, put nutrients in that, and give it time. So the daily pulses are these anchors where you can really have simple, simple things like breathing, observing, free tools that we already have to change our pace. You just need to decide.
How beautiful. Full circle back to the decision. It's one
Yes,
decision away. Just you decide.
always.
I think that's what free will waits for, is for you to realize you have a choice. It's your decision, no matter what. So, on that note, Aline, how do people find you? Where can they go to connect with you?
On my YouTube channel and on the website that I have as well. Both places will lead to be in contact with me.
Okay. And what are they called? The YouTube channel and the website?
Anahata Pulse.
Okay. So it's the handle is Anahata Pulse and the website is anahatapulse.com.
.com.br.
Okay, perfect. We'll leave the links in the comment section and also in the description. But thank you so much. It's
Thank you for this opportunity.
yeah, yeah, me too.
And
It's
it's the first time I speak this truth to the world.
woo.
So official launching this whole new Anahata Pulse.
This
Thank
is
you
the
so much.
launch, the full visibility. Ah, you're
Yeah.
so beautiful. You're glowing today. So much light around you and from your heart. And I have to also say, just you're so brave, your vulnerability, sharing your laugh, sharing your tears, sharing your love, sharing your joy, sharing your struggles, and your voice, just as it is. It's been a big inspiration and support for me. to
Mm,
walk with you. I'm so grateful we got to reconnect.
me too.
Yeah.
I love our exchanges. You are inspiring me as well. I feel you are very brave as well with all the movements you do. And your joy is also my joy because we know that we are truly searching and just living a life in an easier way, right? In
Mm,
a abundant way. So
yes.
it's really great.
Connected to the source within so that we don't have to be so effortful.
Yes.
And I mean, that sounds very like a selfish reason to to
Let us be
want,
selfish.
but you know
If
what? Yeah,
everybody
exactly. But
think
easy
about
is
yourself.
possible. Easy is possible. Joy is possible. It doesn't have to be so hard, right?
Doesn't have.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I'm gonna stop our recording. It's been an honor. Thank you, Aline.
Thank you so much as well.
Love you, sister.
Love you.